Welcome to EXO Leaders. Today we're going to interview Alejandro Dabdoub, partner in Allied-Orion Group and co-founder of about 40 other companies. EXO Leaders was created by AIM Group. We're an American consulting firm specializing in making organizations become more effective and efficient. Our guest today is Alejandro Dabdoub, partner in Allied-Orion Group, who was selected to write a piece in EXO Leaders Volume 1 under the chapter Moonshots. If you like this interview, please hit the like button and share it with your friends and colleagues. Alejandro, welcome to today's episode of EXO Leaders Authors Interview. I'd like to ask you, why was it important for you to participate in EXO Leaders?
Gustav, thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. So basically, the main thing that brought me to writing, especially this article, is I believe a lot of leaders block ourselves from ideas or dreams that we eventually have. And just for us to become aware of the possibilities of what we can do is an amazing thing. So a lot of entrepreneurs are coming to the United States and giving the opportunity to start a book, the first edition, which is always the most special one and the hardest one, bringing that awareness for the entrepreneurs that want to venture in the United States. I think it's an amazing opportunity.
Alejandro, this is a place to talk a little bit about yourself, so the readers of the book and the listeners of this video blog can learn more about you.
Thank you, Gustav. So I started when I was 16. I put my first business. I used to live in Mexico City. I started with my first business importing marketing materials from Mexico. Then from there, I ventured. I did some insurance. After going into business for some time, I decided to go back to school. So I went to the University of New Orleans and really learned more on the educational side of the business. So I did that. I then I loved real estate. I always wanted to be in real estate. So I went to Harvard Business School for real estate development and keep going on that. I started taking courses at Rice University, different kind of weekly courses and everything. And then eventually I ended up at London School of Economics for infrastructure finance. So with all that, I still kept going on the process of entrepreneurship. I always liked businesses. I always liked dealing with people. So I opened businesses, closed businesses, sold businesses. So I've been going with that process throughout my life. So it's in my heart. Right now, I'm based in Houston, so I just moved here about 7 years ago, 6.5 years ago with my family. I love what the way business structure is in the United States is amazing. I just love it. Everybody wants to help you. Every idea that you have, there's a way to do it. So everybody pushes you a certain way. So again, I'm always doing business, looking into new ventures, new opportunities. But the main thing that has been set in my heart right after COVID and everything is it's not just a business for the money side, but the business for the help and bettering people's life side, which I think as business leaders, we really need to look at. And that's, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but that's kind of a reason I'm writing a book on the ethical side of AI, because we're living a new revolution.
We will speak about all your other things that you do, but tell us a little bit about Allied-Orion Group, if you would.
So Allied-Orion Group is a group that has been established for almost 40 years now. I started back in 2002, over 20 years ago, as an investor. Back then, again, I was kind of following my father's recommendation, which was earn your money in dollars, live in pesos. I used to live in Mexico, so I did what everybody wouldn't imagine. I did the opposite than everybody else. I lived in Mexico City. I used to come once a month to Houston for the business side. So I started with them. The relationship kept evolving to the point to where 10 years after, I got invited to be a partner. So I got invited as a partner in the group, still living in Mexico, still just coming for meetings. until I decided to move to the United States, again, 7 years ago. And with that, two more partners were integrated into the group. So we're 7 partners in total. And we kind of decided that it's an amazing company and we wanted to grow the company. Mm-hmm. So we grew, if I'm not mistaken, in 2021, the company grew about 500%. Wow. Which is not easy to do for a company that's been in business for 35 years. So since then, we've been implementing new strategies, new lines of businesses, and today we're fully integrated. We have companies importing materials from different places. We have the development side, the construction, and the management. Right now, we're building our own insurance company because the insurance prices we've seen they're a little high. They changed in the United States. So we're always looking at opportunities. So it's not just Allied as a construction company, but everything that we do around.
So, but you started out in construction business. What called you to the construction business?
So the construction business was something that I always wanted to do since I was in school, since I was in college. It was something, back then I really thought about hotels. I was thinking more like, I want to build something like a Marriott, go into the hotel business and things like that, which what I do is very similar. We do apartment complexes, everything's rental. So it's similar, it's just a little more long-term. And the reason for being in construction was more to better the way people lived. So it's not just, building something, selling it, but it's what do we put around it, or how can we help our society elevate itself to build a dignified life? Mm-hmm. Not everybody has a capital to buy a house, to buy a car, to be, their dream house or whatever. We all have to start somewhere. So rental properties, I think it's a perfect place to start while you're building that wealth to get you where you really want to go.
Where are your projects at, Alejandro?
So basically in Texas, although we have management on 9 different states, and we're the construction, we're going to start in Florida and Colorado as well. And I also have some another construction company, which is not Allied, in Mexico.
So you're a serial, if anybody, Alejandro, you're a serial entrepreneur. Was that by chance or by design?
So it started by design. When I went to school, everybody told you to diversify your portfolio and don't put in Mexican version, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So it was a little bit by design, but after being here, it has become by chance. Mm-hmm. It has become going to a place that I get invited to, sitting down next to someone that, you never know who you sit down with, especially here, because here people are more quiet about what they do. And just, having a conversation, all of a sudden just getting a call and saying, do you want to go for lunch? And in the lunch, you really, really know who you're talking with. And you start seeing all the synergies that you can build. So a lot of businesses, they're more by chance because of the willingness to help other people than because, I want to make $1 million in this business or 10,000, whatever you want to call it. But it's more, how can we go out and help people?
You say in your article that people underestimate their own power.
I think we get a lot of blockages when we're young, especially our generations, and especially in Mexico. In Mexico, at least when I was growing up, our parents or my parents didn't really push me to do too many things. I even heard a couple of times that money wasn't that good. Things that typical families start putting certain blockages. Mm-hmm. So when you start getting into your mind and you start analyzing what other people are capable of, today we can talk about Elon Musk. Back then we would talk about Warren Buffett. But you start realizing that if you have a very, very, very high goal and you really have the discipline to get to where you want, you start building the awareness. May it be by education, by being around the right people, sitting at the right tables, but you start building the awareness within you to build that desire, and just going to come on and make you do what you really need to do. Now you have to be very careful because your mind is so powerful that it's going to put certain blockages that you have to overcome with time, and that's where the discipline comes in. You have to be very disciplined to know where you want to go to be able to accomplish your goals. So, I mean, I don't know if going back a little time, but when you thought about, oh, I want that girl to be my girlfriend, you typically got what you wanted. Even if you broke up afterwards or you realized it wasn't the right one for you or whatever it was, but once you got your mind set to something, either a girl or a business or whatever you want to call it, typically you'll be amazed how most of the time you accomplish it. And if you analyze the part where you don't accomplish it, it's because you had a personal blockage that didn't let you, or you realized you became aware of something that wasn't really worth pursuing that goal, and you just switch. But you realize it's pretty much within you that you made the change.
Wow. When did you figure this out, Alejandro? When did you say, I'm not going to keep my feet planted on the ground?
I would say when you're going to ride in EXO Leaders, think about how you're going to help students, how you're going to help younger people achieve their goals. Don't do it for ego. Don't do it for yourself. Do it more on the teachings that the legacy that you're going to leave to other people. Maybe your kids. Sometimes some parents don't talk with their kids too much about what they do, or they don't relate as well on the lesson that they want to teach their kids. So think about it more as a legacy that you want to leave to future generations.
Wow, that's so powerful. I mentioned it before, just the other day. My kids were saying, Dad, you do a lot of things, but what do you actually do? So that's it is actually a place. I've heard a lot of the authors say that their kids grabbed the book and they said, Dad or Mom, you're in a book. So that's very interesting. Well, Alejandro, thank you very much for your time, for the interview. It's been great you visiting. I hope that you participate next year also in EXO Leaders and you share incredible insights with the readers. And I always enjoy reading your articles. So thank you very much, Alejandro. And you'll have to tell me when your book comes out. I'd love to buy a copy. Do you know what the title is going to be?
So it's Algorithms, an ethical blueprint for AI leadership.
Okay, very good. So we'll look for it in a couple of months. And again, to you listeners, thank you very much for listening to this EXO Leaders blog. We hope you liked it. If you did, please press the like, and see you next week for another edition of these interviews.